Hello and welcome to Recycle Cleveland. I'm your host, Dan Monroe. You may have a lot of questions about Cleveland's new recycling program, and right now we're going to give you a lot of those answers. Joining me is Ren Brumfield, the recycling coordinator for the city of Cleveland. Ren, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
With this new program, compare it with the old one and how it differs, and also how it's the same.
You know, the big things, we'll start out with how it's the same, right? We're recycling the same basic materials, right? Your paper, your plastic, your cardboard, and metal. Right? That's always been the thing. With the new program, there are a few other things that we can recycle that we couldn't recycle back when. Now, one of the big things with that is it's not going to seem new to a lot of us because they were things that we were trying to recycle before. So when we had our issues with contamination, a lot of it was we put things in that we weren't allowed to, that vendor couldn't process. So I think that we're going to be at a good place with that.
You know, there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of people thinking this doesn't work. There's been a story out across the USA alone that recycling is not really happening. It's just being buried, burned, just pushed under the rug, so to say. What do you say to that?
That is not what's happening in our case. And I think that's not what's happening in most cases. I have actually been to our processor. I see what happens there. I have video that I hope that we can share of how our materials get processed. So I know that recycling is happening. You know, I've seen it happening.
It's there. It's actually happening.
It's real.
Let's talk about the program from the beginning. How does someone get involved with the Cleveland Recycling Program?
The first thing they have to do is be a Cleveland resident. So residents of the city of Cleveland would call either 311, which is 664-3711, if they want to dial it all out, and they let them know they're interested in joining the recycling program. They can also go online at clerecycles.com and sign themselves up for the program.
Since recycling years ago started, I've been recycling. I have to sign up still too anyway, right?
You do. And really, you know, there were a couple years where none of our recycling was actually being recycled. So we were out of the game for a little bit. Now we're getting back in. Now with this new vendor, there are some different things that can be recycled. So if you keep going by the old rules, you wouldn't actually know what's going on with this new process. So when people do enroll, what we do is we send them the information, and they also get those stickers that go on those cans. So the stickers being on the cans lets us know they have the information. They know what to put in properly.
Okay. Well, what happens if I don't sign up for recycling?
If you don't sign up for recycling, you don't get that information, and you don't get those stickers to put on your can. And currently right now, what's happening is the recycling carts, the blue recycling carts that don't have those stickers on the side, aren't getting recycled. Those are getting emptied into the same truck as the trash. And the reason for that is because they are not part of the program, so we can assume that they don't know what's supposed to be in there.
So just having that blue recycling bin alone doesn't mean you're getting recycling unless you sign in, get the sticker, show that you're in the program.
You have to do that.
So we talked about the blue recycling. That's the appropriate can to use. It's the only can that they will take for recycling, right?
That is the only one. You can't, and we prefer you not to put it in bags in that blue can. You can't put out just bags or your own can. It has to be that city-issued cart.
So what if someone signed up for the recycling program but still hasn't received their stickers? How long does it usually take to come in?
Well, it shouldn't take as long as it had in the beginning. So we're sending those out weekly. So as people sign up, what I do is I gather that list up at the middle of the week, actually. And then by the end of the week, we're sending them out, so they should receive them within a week or so.
So if you sign up a day or two before your trash collection,
you're probably not going to have it for that next day. It's not going to be a next day kind of service. It'll be the next week or so, you'll get that. Is the city still going to take the blue recycling carts if residents, well, we talked about don't sign up for recycling, it's still going right into the trash? Well, if they don't sign up for recycling, it is going into the trash. So if they do, then that's going to get picked up by a truck that only picks up those that have the sticker on it. And there was a point from the last question that I meant to put in. What was that last question again?
If I sign up for recycling, I still haven't received my stickers.
That's right. So if you haven't received the stickers, if for some reason it's been a week and you still haven't gotten that sticker, then what I ask people to do is to call 311 and let them know that. And what they'll do is they'll give me their name on a supplemental list, and we'll send out something separately, because I don't know what happened to it in that random abyss in the middle there. So
and that's that magic number again, 311. Call that for any kind of issues or questions. Are there different trucks out there, and how can I tell a regular garbage truck from a recycling truck?
There are not different trucks out there. They look exactly the same. They're the same big white trash trucks you've always seen. It's just that every day they're assigned a different route. Somebody will be on a trash route, someone will be on a recycling route. The only way you can really tell is to watch what they're picking up and to see which things they put in. And some people actually, I think, we're looking for, when I talk about we have a new vendor for recycling and such, they think that maybe we'll have a vendor truck, a new truck that they'll see something different, and it's still going in the same old white truck, so what's happening? But those white trucks are, some are picking up recycling, some are picking up trash.
You just can't tell which is which. Unless you watch what they pick up. The biggest question, what can I recycle in my blue recycling cart?
Okay, the simplest way I can put that, I'll give you a big list now, okay? You ready? You got plastic things, paper things, cardboard, cartons, and metal cans, right? So let me expand on that a little bit. So for the plastic, we don't want your plastic bags and random little pieces of stuff. We want plastic bottles, jugs, cups, tubs, and what else? I guess jars, right? That's all the plastic that goes in. And when you have a question, people will ask me, there was someone that had like a supplement powder jar, one of those big jars. And basically it's, you kind of look at it and you say, does it fit into one of those categories? Bottles, jugs, jars, tubs, cups. And is it plastic? Then it can go in there if it passes that test, right? For the paper, just regular, your sheets of paper, paper bags, just paper, right? Paper cups, that is a new thing. That's one we couldn't do before. And cardboard boxes, and also cartons, like your milk carton, juice carton, that kind of thing. All right, what do we have otherwise? Glass, bottles and jars. I don't know if I listed that the first time. Mm-hmm. Glass, bottles, and jars, those are the only things. We don't want your broken dinnerware or mugs or anything like that, just bottles and jars. And for metal cans, we're talking about tin cans, aluminum cans, the kinds that you have food and beverage in. Right, so a big 5-gallon bucket or a paint can or something like that would not go in, mainly because they're too big for the process.
Now, on the flip side, I'm sure there's a big list of things that can't be recycled. Obviously, we can't go through all of them now, but what are some of the big things that people think they can recycle that they really can't?
All right. One of the biggest things that I see over at the transfer station, well, I guess some, it's plastics that really mess people up, right? So it's the big, cat litter pails. The process, the way things go through the machinery when they get separated, it just does not accommodate something that large. So that's something that can't get in there. I see laundry baskets in there. Laundry baskets, even though they're made of plastic, they're not, a cup or a bottle or a jug or a tub, right? So they don't go through the process very easily either. So it's just a matter of people like to look on the bottoms of things and see the little triangle and say, okay, it's recyclable, and throwing it in there. But the way it works right now, those triangles really just tell you what it's made of. And yes, it's made of plastic. It's made of the same kind of plastic as this thing, but it's a different shape. It's a different size. Sometimes there are other factors that affect it, right? So what I really try to tell people to concentrate on is the positive, right? So don't go by just that number. What else do I see? One thing I see that kind of disturbs me when I see it in the recycling is I see things like diapers. I see bags of grass. I see, early in the spring when we first started recycling, it was about the first nice weekend of the spring. So we had everybody's mulch bags and plant pots and all that stuff. Now, none of those things are recyclable. The bags hang up in the machinery that separates all the recyclables. All those other tubs and such just don't fit. They're not made out of the same kind of plastic or anything, so they just aren't part of the process.
You said something interesting, and I want to expound on that. Cleveland does not recycle lawn waste bags.
No. And, it's not really, recycling is not really the term for that, and that actually is what kind of throws people off, I think. So you can compost lawn waste. And right now, there is not a municipal residential compost program, something I'm thinking about for the future, but it's not in place right now. So it is not getting composted. So when you put out lawn bags right now, they can't be in the recycling because that's a whole other process. And there's not a program that will compost them directly right now. So those are going to the landfill right now.
One more question here before we take a break. Can I put bags of recyclables in the container? Can it be bagged up and put in the container?
No. No. And the reason for that is that the whole purpose of the vendor that we have, the purpose of the material recovery facility is to take that big jumble of everything that you put into that one blue cart and to separate it out to a point where they can make a bale of aluminum cans, a bale of clear plastic, a bale of white plastic, a bale of paper. So if you put those bags in there, it really gums up the works and the plastic gets put into all these things that are supposed to be non-plastic. So it's really it's not conducive to the process. We'd rather you not do that.
Okay, Ren, I have a lot more questions to go through. First, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Recycle Cleveland. Stay tuned.
Greetings, I'm Stephanie House, Councilwoman for Ward 7. The City of Cleveland's recycling program has relaunched, and I would like to encourage all Clevelanders to participate. To receive recycling services, residents must enroll into the program. And you can do so by completing the online form at clerecycles.com or calling 216-664-3030. Acceptable materials are metal cans, glass bottles and jars, plastic bottles and jugs, paper boxes, clear plastic, and paper drinking cups or cartons. For more information and quick tips on the recycling program, visit sustainablecleveland.org.
Welcome back to Recycle Cleveland. I'm your host, Dan Monroe. Joining me again is Ren Brumfield, the recycling coordinator for the City of Cleveland. Going back to what we talked about in the first segment about what we can recycle, let's talk about, again, the new things that we can recycle. Talk about types of cups, types of plastics, things like that.
Absolutely. Some of the bigger things, the biggest changes that we have in this new program is that we can recycle paper cups, we can recycle plastic cups, and with those plastic cups, I mean, pretty much anything except a solo cup. Any of you like your to-go cups and all that kind of stuff, they will go, whether they're clear, whether they're white, it's okay, just not the solo cups. And cartons, your milk juice cartons, those kinds of things, those were not recyclable under the old program. So that's a new one. Also tubs, like a yogurt, sour cream, whipped cream tubs, those things are recyclable also now too.
And I gotta think that with the recycle packet you get, I'm sure there's a big list of do's and don'ts that come with that.
There is.
But if people have more questions, can they go to a website? Is it as simple as calling 311 or?
311 would be a good place if you do have a question, and usually if they can answer the question, they'll probably pass it up to me. But also, you could try. We're redoing the city's websites right now, so I would suggest that you look at cuyahogarecycles.org. That's the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District's website. They have a very good tool for figuring out what to do with different waste items, whether it's recyclable or trash or hazardous. They let you know.
So, Ren, why should I bother recycling? What really are the benefits to recycling?
Well, the one, as we live in this city and we look for this city to start growing, a growing city, a city can't really grow unless it can handle its waste. I mean, we don't have room to put all this waste in the ground forever and ever. And a lot of these things that we can recycle, and this is why there's a certain list of things, your plastics, your metals, these things that are very durable. They'll just last forever in the landfill and fill it up, and then we'll have to make a new landfill somewhere. And you're not going to have, you don't have unlimited room for all these things, right? So it's going to start encroaching on the space that we have to live in. So really we're doing this to make our city sustainable for ourselves.
With the program, when I sign up, are there any fees that go along with this, the recycle program?
There are no new fees that are associated with recycling itself, with this recycling program. So you already pay a fee. The base fee is $8.75 per month for waste services. Now that covers everything. That's the recycling, the trash, that's your trips to the transfer station if you're going to go and drop off your own waste, and bulk pickup that we have once a month. So that covers all waste services. So really, if you're not recycling, you're not getting your money's worth. So people should do it.
What about the items that I can't recycle? What do I do with those?
I would say, again, you could go, well, the simplest thing is if it's not on a list for something that you can recycle, it can go in the trash. right? Now, if you really, if you want to recycle this thing, if you know it's recyclable, it's just not acceptable in our program, then you can look on that cuyahogarecycles.org website, and they'll give you a listing of alternative sites, maybe something that's at a store or a different private program or a different city's program that they have.
Now, what do I do if I look out, it's the end of the day, and my trash and recycling have not been picked up? Who can I call there?
Well, once it gets to the end of the day, because I can't guarantee they're going to reach your house at the same exact time every day. So if it gets to the end of the day and nothing has happened, again, that magic number, 311. You call 311, you let them know what the issue is, and leave that can out on the tree lawn, and waste will take care of that.
You know, Ren, when I think about recycling, I think about my son, both my sons, young kids growing up, and, I think about the people we're going to hand over the keys to, the kids we're going to give the keys to this world. Talk about recycling in that aspect and how we can hopefully make a better future, a better tomorrow for them.
Well, when we think about it, recycling is, I mentioned sustainability and making it sustainable, the city sustainable. So it really affects, what condition it's going to be in when we do give that to them, right? So it's going to be, we're not going to have just a landfill that's overflowing that they can't use if they wanted to. If they do want the stuff they do have to throw away, won't be extravagantly, expensive to throw away because of limited space in those landfills. The environment itself will be a little better because by recycling, that means that less of this stuff that you see. When you see litter on the street, the litter is what? Plastic bottles, aluminum cans, all these things that could be recycled. Recycling gives them a value. Recycling takes that off the street. So it will help reduce litter. So it'll help us have a cleaner city, a better organized city, a city that is in what we would call a circular economy, right? So as we use things, instead of throwing them away, instead of just buying them, using them, throwing them away, we buy, use, recycle. When we recycle locally, it kind of encourages local business and local industry. So there's just a lot that we can build up with recycling as the first step, as the base. It's like the first step into that sustainability, that circular economy, that making the city very self-sustaining, so that we're handing over a very self-sustaining good place.
And you always hear the phrase today, reducing your carbon footprint. Is recycling a big part of getting to that point? Absolutely,
absolutely. Because when you think about these things that you're buying and using and putting in the landfill, well, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of fuel, there's a lot of process happening there that really doesn't need to happen. So we're reducing a lot of the inputs there, and that could be used for something else. It comes down to conserving all that so that it can be used elsewhere, so that it can be preserved.
Okay, Ren, so let's say I've been recycling for about a month or two, and I think everything is going great, but it turns out I might be doing some things wrong. How does the city let me know that, wait a minute, we need to step back and correct your actions and make sure you're doing it right? How will they let me know if I'm doing things right or wrong?
Well, what we're going to do is we'll do some audits. We'll go around, we'll check some of those carts to see how things are going. And we'll put a tag on these carts if we see something that's obviously not right. What we want to do is to tell you what happened and how to correct it. That tag's going to tell you that, because we want to come from a place of education, right? We want people to learn. We want them to do the right thing, because recycling really benefits the whole city, especially if the whole city does it. We don't want it to be an exclusive club, and we want people to understand how it works.
So the tag could say, hey, Dan, I've noticed you've been using a lot of red solo cups in recycling. That doesn't work. Try this type of cup.
Or, well, it'll probably say, red solo cups can't go in there. They have to go in this place, in the trash, since they're not recyclable. But it would say something like that to let you know, to educate. So not just this doesn't go here, here's what you can do with it.
I like that. So the city's going to work with you and walk with you and make sure you get on that right path.
Absolutely, and it's going to affect what I say when I talk to people, when I do things like this. I want to make sure that we answer those questions that or the issues that I'm seeing. And also when we, with the city's website and such, we'll update that so that we keep an FAQ, we keep some information out there to make sure people know what's going on.
And I got to imagine when you talk to people, do you do a lot of outreach throughout the community to help with the teaching part of this?
I do. I am out in the community a lot, in a lot of places, talking about recycling.
All right. Well, we learned a lot about recycling today. Ren, I want to thank you very much. We learned so much. It deserves repeating. Recycle Cleveland, how can people sign up? And where can they get more information?
They can sign up by calling us. They can call 311 directly, or they can call 216-664-3711. Get to the same place with a whole lot of extra numbers. Or you can go online to clerecycles.com. There's information online to tell you about the program, and 311 operators know a lot about it too.
And you'll get your sticker within a week.
Yes.
Put it on your blue bin, and you're good to go. Start recycling.
Good to go.
And have fun with it.
I hope so.
Ren, I want to thank you so much for joining me. We learned so much today, and I'm sure there's going to be more questions down the line. So I hope to be talking again soon.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks. And thank you for watching Recycle Cleveland. I'm Dan Moreau. We'll see you next time.